Hey guys, we are going to be talking about Marvel Legends, DC Multiverse figures, some comic book stuff from old TV shows, and my own personal interests. Hopefully you enjoy this next 15 to 20 minutes and just chill out, man. Hey everyone, so those figures that we had talked about last week, at least the game reverse ones from Marvel Legends, the Marvel vs. Capcom type figures, so those are available. At least they're pre-order available over here on the GameStop website. You can see here we have Captain America and Venom. Then we have Wolverine and Silver Samurai. And then over here on the bottom we have Shumagorath as he's being billed, Gargantuos with the little dude. As Bending Wire, I saw someone with it online who's bending it, and I was kind of posing it like Starro, which ironically I have a mask of him up there. I'm not going to get that down just because that's pinned. That took a minute, but there's that. And then over here we have a 4-pack that'll be coming out. That is very expensive, $90 coming out in September. So I'd say, was that like end of third quarter for this year? Honestly, a lot of these figures we already have gotten in some way, shape, or form. Like I know I have a Ultra Magnus sitting around that has this kind of white Optimus Prime with the kind of teal details on there, like his mask and the little forehead piece. And of course, what's it called again? Transformers Animated. They're doing a Nemesis Prime. The thing that I'm most interested in, by the way, Bumper's also here. I think that's his first official figure. Is Horrible, which is really neat. He's one of the original Headmasters. Very dope character. Of course, Transformers fans, we love when there's someone obscure that gets something, hence Bumper. Maybe not for $90, but still neat. And it looks like he's just using the same mold as Skullcruncher, who is also a Headmaster. He's an alligator, crocodile type dude. I'd say alligator. He has more of like a sea snout. But same kind of transformation rig. The only difference, of course, is the color. It's a retool of that body. A new headpiece for the bull section. Hey, and we're also talking about the DC McFarlane Multiverse line, which I don't really collect often. I usually just get the bigger guys like Gorilla Grodd or Doomsday here because I'm not a fan of 7-inch scale, and the paint and all these different kind of things, it just irks me. I like the Hasbro Legends a lot and Mafex because it's more streamlined into like the 6-inch scale, 112 collective, that kind of stuff, Mezco as well. And it's easier for me continuity wise as opposed to like having this Spider-Man and having this really tall Batman right next to him. But I like having the bigger guys again, like Doomsday or Gorilla Grodd or so on. But I find it neat that they're doing this. They're doing Slade, Wilson, Deathstroke, classic design. We're in Disco Wing as well, which looks nice. He has like some highlights as though he's in the comic book page, which I think is really neat. Monarch, who, from what I can remember, was a part of either Zero Hour or Retribution, Revelation, something or other, is one of those Crisis-esque events that wasn't really brought up to that huge scale. But from what I can remember, he is an evil future version of Hawk because for some reason they just kept making that dude bad. Then also a Mr. Miracle toy, the classic design, which looks really nice. Like, it looks like it's all sculpted detail. It's not like they just painted on lines here, which sadly they do for another figure that I'll be showing in a minute, which may even be the next one. It was not. We have Mirror Master. I think this is the classic version. I don't know. There's two that have the same kind of costume. But this is really dope. I love that it comes with the accessory of the mirror guns. I think that's all I really have to say with this guy. I'll be honest, I'm not too well versed on Flash's rogues. I know there's a lot of them, and they're really neat, and they have their own code of conduct and ethics that they do with their crimes. But on their own individual sets, I don't really know. I know the second one, second Mirror Master, was part of the Suicide Squad back in the day in the 80s. Yeah, 80s, early 90s, possibly. Oh, then here's the one I was talking about. This is Metron with his Mobius chair, which is really neat. I love the details going into the chair. Not so much with Metron himself because it's just painted on details. It feels very low effort and low energy for considering all the other stuff that they've given us. But looks nice. Gets all the things that you need to out of this character. He's mostly sitting in a chair, so it's not like we need a whole range of posability with him other than just really the upper body. Then we're also getting spoiler. It's her more kind of modernized design where it's incorporating more of the Bat Family Batgirl persona into it as opposed to when she first popped up on the scene, with the full black mask, the big oval gray to white toned eyes, black bodysuit with the purple hood and cape, which she has here, and it's really nice that they're doing the posable cabling on it, which I had gotten a Damian Wayne figure for a relative recently that had the same kind of stuff, which I find really cool because it's not something that I'd often think about for the hood at least, but for the cape it's nice. Looks good. A lot of painted on details as opposed to being sculpted on there, which it's alright. I mean, I suppose there isn't a great calling for this character, but it would have been really nice to have the extra mile go forward for it. Then, from what I can remember reading, this is a Page Punchers edition of Superboy. His classic design from the 90s when he's fighting Knockout and Killer Shark. Oh, no, not Killer Shark. King Shark. Killer Shark is an extremist, we'll say. King Shark is the bigger one that we've seen more in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the Harley Quinn show, the Suicide Squad movie that had John Cena as a Peacemaker and Idris Elba as Bloodsport, and of course the character we're actually referring to here, King Shark, being voiced by Sylvester Stallone, and I believe the mocap was actually done by Stephen Agee. I don't know how to say that name. I'll put it on screen and you tell me how you pronounce it. I'll be able to tell by the way you type it. But this is dope. I really would love if it came with a jacket, or maybe if there's a chase version that has a sculpted on jacket and maybe removable glasses. That'd be really amazing. And another thing with like the details being sculpted on, like this would have been really nice. Everything else here looks really good on him actually. Besides that, hey, moving back over to Marvel Legends, specifically their Game Reverse stuff, we'll be getting a Marvel Snap three figure set, which is going to be Sauron, Savage Land, Rogue, and I'll be honest with you, I don't remember this character's name. I know she's the She-Devil and she's associated with Khazar, but I'm gonna look it up real quick because I wrote this down. Shanna the She-Devil, that's that character. So this is really neat. I'm excited to see this. A lot of the body for Sauron is retooled from the 2012 Lizard Amazing Spider-Man. You can see just namely with the chest here is reused, and I think that neck piece as well. Which this works really well because actually in the last video I made an error. I talked about a character named Marrow, and I said that she was from the Zabu wave. She was actually not from that wave. She was from the recent Nemesis wave, Build-A-Figure wave, which Nemesis is this character who's from the Age of Apocalypse storyline, whose name has been changed a few times just because it was kind of problematic, his naming convention. But he's the son of Apocalypse, and she comes with one of the pieces of him. But this works out nicely, so you can round out that kind of Savage Land roster with Khazar, Zabu, Shanna the She-Devil, and now a new Sauron, because we already got one before that had like a brown loincloth and stuff like that, and Savage Land Rogue. Then away from the big two with DC and Marvel stuff, we are getting a NECA convention exclusive for 2025, Surf's Up Chucky, which I love. This is goofy. Comes with a surfboard, you know, he's got the sunglasses, he's got some floaties here, he's got sandals on, his nice good guys shorts. It's cute. I love it. It's very in character. I'm excited to see this come out. I'm kind of bummed that's an exclusive for the con because I don't really go to the conventions often, just money wise, but still neat that this is being made. Oh, and then super zoomed out for some reason. I guess it's because it's a reveal. Ba-da-da-da! We are getting a continuation of the Spider-Man 90s series with Spider-Man 94, which will be a revival, which is meant to kind of finish up the story that was left with Mary Jane and everything, with Hydra Man and all that was taking place. This is a really blurry image. I apologize. I couldn't find anything really that was clear on this, but take my word that the artwork's really nice, and then also we're getting Moreland in here, which I don't know how I feel about that with them mixing new continuity with old stuff. It's kind of like when they do continuation projects for the DCAU, like with Justice League versus the Fearsome Five or Batman and Harley Quinn. It makes the timeline really confusing, especially with putting this character that wasn't introduced until like the 2000s into the show from the 90s that had a very special kind of identity. It feels a bit mixed up, but to be honest with you, I'll just have to see and read this when it comes out. Hey, and besides the news, I worked on that custom I talked about last week, the gold custom, using the AEW Bryan Danielson body. So I disassembled him, I put him in boiling hot water in order to, because it's plastic, to make it more malleable, easier to pop apart, and then heat treated it with anything that the water wasn't getting by using a hairdryer. And he's in a bag now. That had gone pretty well. And then I went and I sanded everything. While disassembling, I sadly did snip him a little bit on where his arms meet the shoulder into the bicep right here. I don't know how well that's showing, but accidentally did that. So I'll have to look for that or find a replacement. Then I sanded everything down, including the head, which had he had like a ponytail, little man bun type deal actually, and beardage, which I got trimmed down. Looks horrific. I swear it'll be better in a minute. A minute probably being like 2 more weeks. But I just went, I fixed that up. I sanded everything down, which when you're sanding, you want to focus on like where it's going to be like moving together. So say for these 2 pieces, I sanded down like right here and right here because that's where it's going to be having friction points with the top torso or with the upper body and down here with the groin. So you're going to want to do that whenever you're sanding these things. I don't know why I'm giving you a tutorial now, but that's what I did. And then aside from that, I used a lot of reference. I looked at different images of the metal men from throughout the years to get inspiration on what exactly I wanted. And here's some old comic stuff I'd actually seen while I was like out and about at a thrift place. I'd found some old comics, which was really neat. And just getting a feel for his body and his design. And I just did a base sketch of him, which took a good little bit of time, honestly, just to figure out. I'd also gone through the old 2007 series and the DC Rebirth stuff. Which honestly didn't have a lot of images of him, and at the time I was trying to get everything designed in one, which I didn't end up doing. I just got a base outline with the parts that I wanted to use or the parts that I wanted to really detail on him, like this chest piece, these parts where like the metal meets, and he has these little like rivets on him. Same with on his legs here, which I couldn't really show. I kind of messed that up, but just little details like that I want to get down and understand for this character. And I spent a lot of time with those comics that I was reading, or skimming through rather, from 2007 and the Rebirth era, just trying to get an idea of his identity with his weapons. Like they can all expand, they can all get coily, they can all be very ductile. Mercury has the most identity out of them because he can be all liquidy, but with gold, I've been having a lot of difficulty really figuring it out. So I've been trying to do research. I'm probably going to look into the properties of gold just to get an idea more of like what's so unique about it, other than ooh, it's pretty, it's shiny, it's expensive, but that's my progress so far with that. Aside from the customs, I've also been working on just stuff for future videos. I want to do a video on Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I want to make some Wolverine claws for that. So I finished a huge roll of aluminum foil, and this is pretty strong compared to, say, paper towel roll or cardboard, which I'd used before, which is really dinky. I'm gonna save that for another time. But I just cut off a few pieces using an X-Acto blade, just for it to be enough to fit to where I can have the blades coming through, and it fits to where it's not popping out really of my knuckle, that you can't see it too easily compared to other designs I've tried before, and this just feels a lot sturdier. Oh, and I also watched Sinners and Final Destination Bloodlines, both really good movies. Sinners, I love the music, I love the cinematography, the ways the characters are written, and it brought really interesting ideas to just the basic lore of vampires and how they work. I'm really excited to see a future project spring out of that movie, with the main antagonist, with some of the supporting cast and main characters. Just there's a lot that they talk about in the film, um, that I enjoyed, and I really would love to see it built upon. But it doesn't necessarily need to do that. Like, I don't think a movie needs to be made just to make sequels, right? Not the Marvelisms or the kind of Disney design with most of the stuff they're going for right now. But I've seen Sinners. I've also seen Final Destination Bloodlines. I've seen the whole series. Absolutely love it. The first movie I've ever seen from that series was the third one with the roller coaster, which love that movie. Oh, really fun, especially the multiple endings. But Bloodlines was good. It was a really emotional send off to Tony Todd, who he sadly lost, I believe, last year or the year prior. Um, he had a lot of amazing roles, of course, as this mortician in the Bloodline series, not Bloodline series, uh, Final Destination series, and he was the first actor for Candyman. He was the voice for Venom in the recent video game, Spider-Man 2. So he will be missed, and I do appreciate his contributions for that series. It was a good movie, amazing send off for him. It felt really nice being a fan of it, but I can totally see myself going to watch it as a newcomer and still enjoying myself because it doesn't necessitate you having prior knowledge. Each movie explains itself on its own and will give you nice nods, so that's always interesting, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Hey, so that's all I really want to talk about. I hope that you had a good time just hanging out, chatting with me for the last 15-20 minutes. I would highly recommend going and watching Final Destination Bloodlines, Sinners. Sinners is really good. Um, and with those figures, like last time, a lot of them were announced and didn't get release dates until recently. So expect the same kind of deal here. Give it a couple weeks. Wait around for it. A great page that I follow on Instagram that keeps up with that kind of stuff is Toy Shiz. I'd look out for these figures on their main retailer sites. So, you know, Hasbro for your Marvel Legends, McFarlane Toys for your McFarlanes, NECA for your Chucky, that kind of stuff. That as well as Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, even GameStop can have them sometimes. So keep an eye out. But I hope you had a good time. I hope that you are being safe, especially with the climate right now if you're over here in America. I mean, honestly, just anywhere. Just please be careful, be safe, look out for each other. And I hope you have a good one.